Hello and welcome back to Lotus Reverie First Nexus. As I've said in the last episode, this time we're going to do main events, but I'm actually going to check out and explore first because I think that increases our chances to have a bigger time and maybe be able to do free events, but we'll see. Near West, let's just start at the top. Ooh, that's pretty. While taking a walk along the river, you stop in front of the many destroyed bridges separating the north and south districts. The view feels nostalgic and your heart throbs like you're about to remember something. Among all the buildings, there is an old storehouse that catches your attention in particular. The battered and weathered sign outside reads Arsenal, but inside there's nothing of the sort. At first you thought it was completely abandoned, but in an inner room you come across all kinds of boxes full of supplies. Is this someone's secret storehouse? In the castle they talked about controlling all the food supplies in the city. You have many doubts circling through your mind, but you'll have to keep your questions to yourself since you're not supposed to be here in the first place. On the way out, you stop upon noticing something out of place. On top of a table lay 2 chocolate bars that seem to have been forgotten. Yeah, one of them is liquor filled. Why would anyone make such a thing? You discard the objectively unappetizing option and instead look at the other chocolate for a while. Hazelnut, it says. Considering there are many of these bars in the boxes lying around, you hurriedly wolf it down, controlled by your own gluttony. The thrill of taking something that does not belong to you raises the already delectable hazelnut flavor to new heights. You take the wrapper with you to avoid leaving any evidence and head back to the castle. I mean, taking it with you is leaving evidence. Kind of, on yourself. Okay, I don't suppose that was particularly helpful for relieving tension. Walk next to the river. Let's go. This action seems important, there's no turning back. Okay, maybe we'll do the other ones first. Monolith. Here we are, no lines to boot. No one would have ever imagined being able to say that in the past, considering how this place was always full of tourists. The jet black monolith is even more impressive up close. As massive as it is overwhelming, it wouldn't be absurd to describe it as infinite. Its texture is odd and unrecognizable, feeling both soft and flexible. It doesn't fit at all with the rest of the world. Black as far as the eye can see, except for the lustrous pale words of the rules, glowing as if they were set ablaze. Are you alright? You look kind of tired. Helio enters your field of view, worried. He offered to accompany you as soon as you said you wanted to visit the monolith. It's nothing. It gives me the chills, but at the same time it's like you can't take your eyes off of it. It's not just its size or how weird it looks. In fact, I thought I would be more surprised seeing it from this close up. It could be deja vu. It's not easy to forget something like this after all. You scowl while tapping your forehead with one of your fingers. I'm sure the key to resolving the incident has something to do with this monolith. The monolith isn't the only issue. Nowadays nothing seems to make any sense. Any less sense than a huge wall with no end. That huge wall could at least be someone's artificial creation. It could have been just hidden underground beforehand or something. What I'm more concerned about are the things that escape human hands, like up there. Your eyes follow Rose's gesture upward. Apart from the monolith, there's nothing but a never-ending blue sky. There's no sun? Ding ding ding. How is that possible? Where's the sun? Rose shrugs her shoulders with a complete lack of concern, which in the context of this immense revelation seems out of place to say the least. But there's light and shadows, there's day and night. How does any of this make sense? Rose just smirks, shrugging even harder. Everyone's been through this. I didn't realize it either until someone told me. You missed the elephant in the room because the magician had you all wowed with his tricks. Amusing, isn't it? It's a given that the sun will always rise and set every day. You won't even notice if it disappears one day, as long as it doesn't affect your daily life. But it's not that strange, actually. It's not like people tend to look directly at the sun. It's one of those things we just know is somewhere out there. How could it not affect us? This is insane. Huh. And what did I tell you before, huh? You restrain yourself, unable to understand why everyone else is so unfazed by this reality. What else am I supposed to know? There's too much to list right off the bat. I'm not sure where to start. One at a time. This black material, do you know what it's made of? Can you drill into it and analyze it or something? No, we don't know what it's made of, and any drills just bounce off. Strangely enough, it becomes more flexible the more strength you apply. We've tried to break it using all kind of machines and magic with no success. In fact, it's impossible to cast magic close to it, even magic circles. What about its height? Have you tried looking through a telescope to see where it ends? Same result as looking with the naked eye. There's no end in sight. Can't you fly up? Maybe if you observe it from a higher vantage point. Haven't you seen how tall that thing is? I doubt any helicopter could fly that high, even if we did have one at our disposal. And yes, we have also tried to dig under it with the same results. Wait, there aren't any helicopters in the city? Not even at the airport? You can imagine how many people tried that as soon as the incident started, but the airport was empty. Those who managed to escape did not meet a kind fate. When the incident started, they were trying to run away from the city, but if it didn't work out for them... Precisely. Makes you think something or someone doesn't want us to leave, right? You close your eyes, swaying on your feet from a growing headache and the irritation from getting continuously shut down by Rose's scathing words. What exact kind of things happen to anyone trying to leave the city? If it's you... It's if you try to leave the peninsula, to be perfectly precise. There's always the option of obtaining a boat and leaving by sea, and in fact people have attempted this in the past, but all of them died. Died? How? The bodies of those who tried to leave by sea or air just appeared on the coast a few hours later. Nobody knows how or why. Same for those who tried to leave through the border to the north. Their remains were found in the mountains. Emphasis on the found part because they are always found, a fact one could consider even more mysterious than the deaths themselves. It's impossible to confirm the fates of every person, but from what we've been able to test... It is our city, our problem. I didn't flee so far just for this. It's not like I'm going to flee now either. They do dubiously turn you away. You raise an eyebrow, not really sure why they're making those faces. I mean, it seems something or someone is behind all of this. It wouldn't be right to just run away, even if we could. Now I understand why you consider this a game, especially considering those rules engraved on the monolith. What else do we know about them? Not much beyond what you can read there. They're quite straightforward. It takes a while for a distracted Rose to realize you're waiting for her to give the usual explanations, and she's startled. The rules, well, it is as you see, engraved on the monolith as if they were part of its structure from the very beginning, just in case you had any doubts surrounding their veracity. Just like the rest of the monolith, their composition is a complete mystery to us. They cannot be destroyed or modified, etc. The rules themselves appear to be generally true. We have tested out the matter of the Tulpa's time limit, as well as how if one dies, the other member of the pair will die too. Regarding the rule about duels, it's true that they cannot be rejected and are also limited to specific times and zones. It seems that if someone tries to escape these limitations, they simply die without any explicable medical cause. The capability to listen is enough to make one eligible to be challenged, which puts you at a disadvantage. It makes sense that in exchange you can choose, even if subconsciously. If you get out, you'll feel weaker and weaker until you eventually pass out, so you better watch out. Wait a second, Rose. Did I say something weird? You talking about duels so casually must be a shocking experience to Sync, since this is all new to her. No, I mean before you said generally true. Did something happen that doesn't match the rules? Rose takes a moment to think it over. It's not like we can prove everything written there. We just surmise they are correct due to our experiences up to this moment. But since this is inductive reasoning, who knows? The things we take for granted may be mistaken assumptions. Are you implying the rules are fake? Rose inclines her head up to read the rules carefully one more time and then glances back at you. I didn't say those exact words, but they very well could be. Puzzled, you take another look at the literal wall of text, taking a minute to go through all the rules again. Rules we cannot prove. Well, the last one for sure hasn't been tested out yet. When only one Tulpa remains alive and conscious, this competition will come to an end, which will be rewarded with humanity and its wish. This entire game is so a Tulpa can become human? Another interpretation of the "it will be awarded humanity" part would be the return of all humans who disappeared. Now is the only time, the most appropriate time, to get this thing out of the way so we can re-enter the palace. The nature of the reward doesn't matter at this point. Survival is more than enough reason to make it to the end. And I'm personally more interested in how the incident even happened in the first place. Now, for the daily double question, what might explain this odd event? 50 rose points for whoever guesses correctly. Apparently in some kind of game show host mode, Rose points at you with a disconcerting level of glee and frivolity. If nothing comes to mind, then I might as well do a summary to clear the nonsense out of the way. The first option, aliens. It's always fun to use aliens. They're like a wild card that lets us shrug off any questions with unknown alien technology. Less fun is the second theory. This is all some virus made by a crazy doctor. To that, all I can say is, a virus that doesn't even turn people into zombies or something is not amusing at all. And I can't imagine what virus would create the huge black monolith right here. Let's see, what else? There's the attack from a foreign country, or maybe all this is an experiment. We're all actually on a desert island that we were teleported to with magic. The latter is unlikely though, considering magic cannot be directly cast on other people due to how auras work. Next is drugs. Drugs always play an interesting role in these kinds of scenarios. They make a lot of money and create a genuine motive. And of course there's the theories that we're all dreaming this from a coma, that everyone's memories were erased and we're in a future where the sun doesn't exist. Or that this is all just a virtual simulation. Oh, even better, there's the story that this entire city was built on top of a cemetery and some crazy ritual is going on. Although if that was indeed the case, it would be better to adopt the darker style and atmosphere. Plus, since I'm the hot girl, I should be dead by now according to the rules set in stone by horror movies, so I think we can discard that hypothesis. I think that's enough, Rose. I got it. You put a hand to your forehead, agitated, while Rose continues treating it all like a joke, as if none of this mattered. I have a few more ideas if you'd like. I can just list them to save time. Give me a minute, okay? I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to help you. The sooner we finish this, the sooner we can go back home. For that reason, Enough already, Rose. You raise your voice for the first time. Rose freezes and looks at you, completely stunned. We appreciate it, Rose, but I think Sync needs to absorb all that information first. There's no rush. She probably wants to take the time to ponder over all of this. Just a moment. That's all I'm asking. But that's not necessary, Sync. Listen to me. Rose rests one hand on your shoulder. Her voice is both gentle and condescending at the same time. If I, with all my genius, haven't figured it out myself, why would you all bother at this point? If you dwell on it too much, you're only going to have a difficult time. That's the last thing we need right now. You knit your brow, peering closely at Rose's big smile. Perplexed at her reaction, you knock her hand off your shoulder aggressively. What's wrong with you? What? I'm just offering to save you some time. Are you even listening to what you're saying? What do you think we are? Helio tries to mediate between the two of you, but is unable to get a word in. Rose waves her hands in bewilderment, stuttering as she tries to correct herself. No, I meant... Okay, yeah, that sounded really bad. What I wanted to say was that we shouldn't jump to conclusions too quickly. We don't know anything, and I'm sure that much of what we believe we know is also wrong. I'm not taking you for a fool, nor do I want to deceive you. I just want to play it down so panic doesn't spread, and... That's the least of my concerns, Rose. Rose looks away, unable to bear the pressure. Forget it, it doesn't matter. You've helped me a lot, so I can't complain either. I know you have good intentions. But the way you said that with the jokes, I understand why you behave like that in the castle, but there are times where it's just too much. It may just be me who can't yet wrap my mind around the idea of the sun being missing, the life and death duels, the notion that only a pair will survive, and remove this monolith. That's what you think? What do you mean? Do you think the monolith will disappear once this game ends? That's the impression it gives off, isn't it? Once the incident is over, everything will go back to normal. Yeah, I hope you're right. An awkward silence falls over the three of you. Rose seems unsure how to resume the conversation, and ends up dodging the topic entirely. I think that's all. Anything else you want to know? No, I guess not. Thanks, Rose, and I'm sorry for just now. Don't mention it. I'm already used to your complete lack of a sense of humor. Not everyone is as strong as you. I don't know how to take that coming from you, but yes, I get that a lot. Who do you think Rose was clearly on the verge of tooting her own horn yet again, but instead she shakes her head and sighs. I should be the one asking for forgiveness anyway. But this is a one-time thing. No precedents being set here. Got that? No, of course not. You decide to take another walk around the monolith on your own, just in case it'll help you remember anything. After a while you go up to the structure and touch its surface. You still don't understand what this great black wall is, but in a sense it feels vaguely nostalgic. Almost as if you were somehow able to hear it speak. I won't forget. Startled, you jump and look around. You don't see anyone close by. You take a deep breath with a hand on your chest, exhausted. It was probably just my nerves getting the better of me. A heart for Rose. I conquered the world. Okay. And walk next to the river. You know what? We'll save here. Here. And then walk next to the river. Let's go. Sure thing. I won't say anything as long as nobody else finds out, but be good, alright? We won't get in any trouble. I've already explained it all to Sync and her lips are sealed, right? What did you explain to me? See? Just like she has no idea what we're talking about. I'm serious, I have no idea what you're talking about. The two of you split off from Violet once you've arrived at your destination, taking the opposite direction. What they were talking about before was you two getting some alone time, even if that technically breaks the 3-person regulation. You keep a cautious distance from Helio, who walks calmly along the river, observing the water below. Your task with this outing is to check the status of the cameras, detectors, and other traps that are set up along the river. It's a boring and tedious job. Splitting in 2 groups speeds up the process, but increases the danger. Since the events at the hospital, Helio hasn't been the same, and neither have you. Something wrong? Halfway through the process, Helio stops in his tracks. He tilts his head, looking at you and waiting for an answer that never comes. So that's how it is. Helio sighs, moving to stand in front of you and turning to face you head on. I didn't intend to scare you like that back in the hospital. But that wasn't fear, right? There was something else. You remain silent. You managed to remember something? You nod, still cautious. Then there's a chance for you to recover your memory. Funny how it was a Kepata that helped you out. Funny? Kepata? Look, you don't have to tell me exactly what happened or what you remembered. I know you're a woman of few words and I respect that. But we cannot keep this up for forever. I don't want this distance between us. What are you implying? I don't have any issue with... Let's start with the basics, shall we? It'll be faster if we continue where we left off last time. I'm going to summon a Kepata, just like back at the hospital. Don't get scared this time. Wouldn't it be better if you explained what you're talking about first? What's a Kepata? That lizard thing? Helio lowers his head. For a brief flitting moment, you can see a small smile on his face. You are asking that. Incredible. A soft glowing aura surrounds Helio. A black shape emerges from his own shadow, absorbing the surrounding dust into itself. Slim limbs, an enormous jaw, and eyes that seem like they're about to pop out of their sockets. Surprised? Don't be. After all, it was you who taught me how to summon them. I did what? Helio rests his hand on the creature's head. Far from seeming dangerous, it looks more like a pet enjoying itself. Kepata, that's how they call themselves, although in reality they should be Devata. You could say they were something like fairies or goblins who were born by manipulating the very essence of nature around us. Summoning them used to be an extremely difficult magical feat, but for some reason the spell has been quite common since the incident. Probably for the same reason as why Torpas are a thing. The main difference is that you can summon as many Kepata as you want, not just one. It's also worth keeping in mind that Kepatas neither feel nor suffer either, since they don't have a consciousness of their own. And when it comes to their intelligence... Good night, let me introduce myself. My name is Kepata1, and I like to pour cereal after the milk. Good. Oh, fuck off. They're stupid beyond belief. Wait, if I'm Kepata 1, that means there are more. Spoiler. So stupid that they will severely aggravate the usual headache you get when doing magic. Just to reiterate, anyone who pours cereal before milk is wrong. It makes no logical sense whatsoever. One by one, Helio brings out more of those things, though you find out soon enough that they bear no ill will. At this moment, I'm looking for the card of the legendary gold pattern. Can you help me? What a coincidence, my name is also Kepata 1. This text box says something different here. And I'm also looking for the legendary gold pattern. But it said Kepata 2, and just right there. Don't be silly, the gold pattern doesn't exist. Just like the imaginary South Pole, or how there are no Kepatas with a mustache. What? Exactly, everything is lost here. Let's go. Helio gives a few orders to the Kepatas before dismissing them to spread out over the riverbank. Even if they are stupid, they can at least take care of your task to check out the river. But before they can leave, you call them one last time, still concerned. It's nothing. What a weird girl. And this is how the Kepatas depart, in search of an unknown destiny that will probably never come to an end. The end. Oh wait, the end is right there. I said nothing. I think so much concentrated stupidity in one place has shortened my lifespan. What's first time is always an experience, you might say. The Kepatas head out to handle the matter of checking the river's security. In the end, they're basically akin to minions that can be used to perform any task that's simple enough for the low intelligence to handle. This makes them extremely useful for labor and other manual work. And after all that noise and chaos, the atmosphere between you two has returned to the usual silence. Helio in particular looks distracted. Your voice makes him react and he raises his chin. I don't think all of that was just for show. What did you have to tell me? Helio's body language turns nervous and on edge. Maybe you could... No, of course you remember nothing. Isn't that what I've been saying all this time? I always thought you may have been faking it. This is a dangerous world after all. The Kepata haven't clarified anything for you either. They don't even ring a bell. The guy rushes in front of you, his tone and eyes growing sharper with each question. You frantically shake your head. And what happened to the other girl? Didn't you say you couldn't come back? What in the world are you talking about? I already explained that. There must be a reason why you've come, if you're here. The boy is visibly discouraged, his excitement deflating. Your memory being missing is a huge problem, but I know how you feel, Zink. I know what it feels like to lack a purpose. Going through life unceremoniously with neither pain nor glory, following only the established path without anything that stands out, nothing worth your time or effort. Monotonous, grey, ordinary. Helio raises his voice progressively and his gestures grow increasingly wild. Nothing ever happens, and when something does happen, you're not prepared. Nothing feels as interesting or fun as you expected. Everyone seems to have clear ideas of what they want and where they're going, but not you. Because who cares as long as you are yourself, as long as you're happy, following your dreams? Helio suddenly stops. The flood of fake positivity disappears, replaced by a hollow and dull expression. Lies, all of them. Listen to me, Sink. I don't even know where you got that name from. But our time here is limited. I had great plans, great promises I could not fulfill. And here I am just letting the days pass, not that different from my previous life. The decision I can make, no, the decision I must follow. It's not like I enjoy it, but I cannot delay it any longer. An aura is drawn around his figure once again. But this time it's different from the last. The sky, the waters, the streets, and Helio himself. For a moment it feels like all of reality is twisting in on itself. And in that situation, when silence encompasses everything, even the smallest of sounds rings loud and clear. Metallic light constant, the sound of steel's friction with its sheath. I thought you would remember something, but if that's not the case, you're useless to me. If you don't know who you are, then give way for the others. If you're unable to remember anything, then forget about staying alive altogether. How do you think we all made it this far? Helio's sword cuts the air in front of you, a warning strike. You must be ready for battle. There are no more doubts about his intentions. Will you fight? Yeah. I mean, I always thought he was the most sketchy of all of them. Much better. It would be cowardly for me to kill someone unarmed. The distance between you two disappears, his face right next to yours. But you react just in time to parry his blade with your knife. He doesn't give up, and the quick exchange of slashes continues. Not bad. You didn't forget everything. The boy takes a few steps back, increasing the distance between you while he uses his free hand to draw circles in the air. His actions baffle you until you see his aura taking shape, creating a small glowing ring spinning between his fingers that expands little by little. Helio launches the ring and it embeds itself into the concrete, never stopping its rotation or expansion. It only grows faster and faster. You turn to look at Helio, but he runs away into an alleyway. As you watch, the ring swallows everything it touches. You have to get away from there and catch him. Don't you feel it? The burning heat inside you? You're faster than him. After turning a corner, you notice how the distance between you two has shortened, but the boy doesn't seem to care. Fearing this to be a trap, you wait for him to take another turn. Instead of following right behind him, you take a detour to try to overtake him. Upon arriving at a crossroads, you hide yourself, waiting for him with your weapon ready. Once he shows up, it'll take a second for you to finally clash. One clean hit before he notices your presence and it'll all be over. And that's exactly what you do. You don't make contact, however. He straight up vanishes. Ha! A short grunt behind you gives his position away, but you still can't escape his impending attack. So you use your own body instead. You swipe at his sword with the back of your hand, barely managing to parry him with extreme precision and evading death by a mere half second. Knocked off balance, he stumbles and collapses directly onto your body. This opening enables you to point your knife at his neck. His own weight should be enough to finish the job, but instead both of you stop in place just before anything happens. Because the sword wasn't his only weapon. His left hand had been hiding a knife of his own, which is now pointing directly at your heart. Two blades pointing to two vital points. One single step and you both would be dead. How do you like that? Can't you hear it? How your own body asks to survive about for everything? The clanging sound of metal falling to the floor is unmistakable. The boy drops his weapons and shrugs, looking satisfied. Now you could put an end to his life at any moment. What are you doing? The same thing you taught me. Helio raises his hands in surrender. You keep your own steel pressed tight against his larynx. Leave fear behind and fight. I've shown you your will to live, how a part of you still has the strength to go forward and discover what awaits you. You're wrong if you think your life is any less valuable than another's just because you lost your memories. You decide your own value. Become worthy of this life you have won, and become someone who can honor the memory of all those talented dead who simply had bad luck or couldn't surpass you. In short, become a hero. Your breathing speeds up. You don't know how to react. Did I really teach you that? Not those exact words, but you get the idea. Your eyes flick back and forth nervously, looking for any traps. Give me one single reason for me not to kill you right now. I have none. There is no way out, Sync. There is no solution to this game. We'll all end up dying or killing ourselves anyway. So? It wouldn't be heroic of me to take advantage of me remembering the past. You lower your head, letting a long minute pass by without saying anything, only biting your lips. You have a lot to explain. You remove your weapon from his throat, freeing Helio. He smiles widely despite everything. We can talk back in the castle. It wouldn't be nice of us to make Violet worry about us and have to wait for too long. That's it? We're just going home? We're going home. Helio picks up his weapons and starts to walk back, as if nothing just happened. For a moment you remain doubtful. You could still finish him off at any second and end everything. But there's something in that confidence of his that catches your attention. A conviction you cannot grasp. Or rather, that arouses an uncontrollable curiosity to know his secrets. Helio, wait a moment. What would have happened back there if I had refused to fight back? The boy stops, carefully thinking over his words. I would have attacked anyway. Even if that would have killed me? I wasn't testing your determination alone, Sync, but also my own. and there in my dreams. Violet joined back up with you and Helio, and the three of you make it back home as if nothing happened at the river. It makes for a stark contrast to your situation just minutes ago. You need to talk with Helio, but you know you'll have to reserve that for a later time where you can have more privacy. In any case, you have to put away all those doubts and fears, just like all the other emotions you've been sitting on this whole time. For now, it's best that nobody else know anything that just happened. You make it back to the castle. No one is waiting for your return. Or that was what you thought until she appears, watching from behind the doorframe. Oh, welcome back, Sink. Columbine scans you from head to toe. She seems to be caring progressively less about hiding her stalking obsession towards you. Oh, so you've been in a fight. Who was it? What do you mean? It's a secret? Then it was Helio, huh? Despite looking fully like she's enjoying her analysis, the girl bites her nails and looks away. Stop making things up. I'm going back to my room. Are you sure? That wound in your left hand seems to be saying otherwise. On the back of your hand you find a crimson line that spawns the entire width. You know perfectly when it must have happened, but you're surprised you didn't notice it until now. A wound that's still visible even now. What was you thinking? Columbine lowers her head, sighing. We should heal that before someone else finds out. Violet would be sure to make a ruckus when treating you, for one. What? I'm just trying to help. I have no ill intentions. Columbine, listen. No need to say anything. I won't tell anyone, but we'd better get some privacy if we want to patch you up. We can think of some excuse in a way. Considering your current position, you have no other option but to nod and start on your way. Columbine asks you to take a seat while she prepares a first aid kit. Contrary to your expectations, she is thorough and kind, and you can glimpse the Columbine you saw in your room the other day. But that is not what you have come here for. It's quite interesting how sometimes the most obvious things get completely ignored. Maybe it was the adrenaline running through you that prevented you from realizing until now. The girl catches the confusion on your face and softly shakes her hand, drawing your attention back to it. The hand. I'm talking about the hand. You were very surprised when I mentioned it. Shouldn't you have realized something like that from the beginning? The disinfectant on the cotton ball stings sharply when it contacts your skin, emphasizing the wound's existence in Columbine's words. Surely it's happened to you before. You hear a word or someone mentions a location that you've never heard of before, and suddenly it feels like it's being mentioned all over the place. The normal situation is that you probably never paid it any attention before, but after learning about it you start to actively notice it, almost as if they were teasing you like a fool. The girl wraps the gauze around your hand twice and gives it a strong squeeze. Hey Sink, do you believe in destiny? You do not answer. The girl smiles and painstakingly cuts off the excess gauze. I'm not talking about destiny as a fixed path or like God's will or anything, no. More like a card game where you have several possible plays and bets, but in the end everything is decided by the cards the croupier deals as well as the rules of the game itself. You think you have control because you can choose, but your decision doesn't extend beyond the few cards you hold in your hand. You believe what you see or hear, but much of reality is hidden outside of our senses. You don't even realize it's there until they reveal themselves to you. Doesn't that mean destiny does exist? Imposed by what we can know, by the few cards we hold in our hand, or why we ignore what else is still in the deck? The girl finishes, standing up while cleaning her hands. I'm just talking nonsense, don't pay me any attention. It's just a personal thought of mine. That every day is the same, that no matter what you do, there's no change, no movement. When you have been denied even your own death and you cannot escape. Like the Torpus? Exactly, like me. You didn't expect that, huh? I don't know what made you think the opposite. But it's much more than that. I already told you, didn't I? The Tulpa is created based on the wishes of another person. It does not have control over what belongs to them, not its words, its face, or even its own name. Are you telling me that was what worried you so much? That is why you are so obsessed with death? What? No, you got it all backwards. The girl blinks in surprise, waving her hands exaggeratedly to deny it. Out of everyone in this castle, I'm probably the person who wants to live the most. I want to keep going because that is the only way I may find an answer. Maybe something will change out of pure chance. I want to truly feel what it's like to be alive. I want to feel the pleasure of becoming nothing but a miserable human whose birth was just an error. The only way to make a difference, make an impact, is by overcoming the rules, playing dirty if necessary. Force the other players to retire, tamper with the table, tear the board apart, steal the cards, do everything you shouldn't do. Not because it's easier or because it makes you happy, but because you can, because you're truly free. It's about destroying the blasted destiny, and you know exactly what I mean, right? Columbine doubles over, stuttering, then raises a finger to clarify herself. That was a badly phrased question. I don't mean anything to do with life or death, no. I'm referring to courage. We are friends, Sink. I admire and love you. I love you so much, but at the same time, I want to win this game, to survive, to see what is beyond this world where I was born. A contradiction as beautiful as it is human, don't you think? Behind her tangled hair, her mouth twists into a smile both sinister and genuine, making it impossible to tell where one of her personalities begins and the other ends. There's not much time left. Don't you have to go meet someone to get some answers? A wound is nothing but a wake-up call. It was fun and all, but what's yet to come shall be even better. The girl shuffles closer and stretches her arms around you, giving you a hug. You can feel her heavy breathing in your ear, accompanied by a whisper. Do not worry about anything. I won't let anyone hurt you. I'll keep this moment and that wound as our little secret. Until the day we have to show our cards. The girl stands back up, clearly excited, a big grin on her face even as she bids farewell. Sink, I feel so alive now that I know you properly. I can't wait. That's why I wanted her exclusively to myself. Another trophy. Thistle. How are you doing? You should talk with everyone every time you have the chance. They're all good people that could help you in your day-by-day living, and you might even remember some things. In any case, what should we talk about? Rosemary. Rosemary is a very special girl. I think that's obvious, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think those quirks and peculiarities just add to her uniqueness. But something is wrong with her. I would say she believes something is wrong with her, but there is no such problem, beyond how we're at the end of the world and all that. Then I'm worried for nothing? Oh no, worrying is normal. It would be odd if you weren't. This is the eternal condemnation you must fight against to remind yourself that you are alive in some way. A battle as stupid as it is necessary. I wasn't talking philosophically here. You're right. What I was referring to is how Rosemary is the only person who doesn't seem to fall under this generalization. Or to be more precise, she doesn't want to fall. This I care about now. What is I won't forget? You think it's weird? A little. The phrase isn't used much outside Maya, but it's quite common here. It's basically equivalent to saying goodbye. Telling someone you won't forget them is a way to let them know they made an impact on you. I don't know, I feel like it's quite possible for someone to make such a terrible impact on you that you can't forget them. There has to be a much less ominous way to say goodbye. History has shown us that all idioms change and adapt over time. It's quite common for idioms to make less sense nowadays compared to when they were first invented. One theory surmises that the expression started out as something akin to I won't forget you, but in time the you was lost. So is any specific origin known? According to a story surrounding the first queen of Maya that has been passed down ever since. When she was on her deathbed, she bid farewell to her people with that sentence. And out of respect for her, the people did the same. They did not forget her, including adopting that particular idiom until it became a new way of saying farewell. I see, I guess that makes some sense. Some sense, huh? You don't look very convinced. It's nothing, it's just, that story would be more understandable to me if it were the people who originally said those words to her, not the reverse. We usually say we won't forget about those who die, right? The opposite doesn't make much sense. Thistle covers his mouth with one hand. You're right, but who knows? It's difficult for us in the present to tell if it was the idiom that changed over time or the legends surrounding it. Okay. He won't forget. Okay, and the tension has risen despite us telling him. Alright, so that'll be it for this episode. thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.